every single Muslim believes in what I'm holding between my two hands. Firstly, we have the Holy Quran. The Holy Quran is the holy book. I have here 4 volumes of Sahih al-Bukhari. What lays within these books and leads to our deaths. The problem is, you do not have access to these books. You would not be able to understand the literature within these books. When you go to a Muslim bookstore and you say, can you give me a copy of the Bukhari? You would expect to get this, but instead they'll give you this. They have cherry-picked and selected for you and translated for you what they want you to read from Sahih al-Bukhari. They do not want you to read everything. This is not al-Bukhari. This is a small compilation from what they want you to know about Bukhari. This is the real Bukhari. We want to know what's in the book. What really is Muhammad like according to the Bukhari? I'll start with volume 1. And this here is volume 1. Page 45 of this very book, volume 1. They say that the messenger of God, Muhammad, came to a house, and I will recite in Arabic. He laid down, slept, and began to snore. Then the caller for prayer, the person who wakes him up for prayer, came to the Prophet Muhammad. And he said to him, it is time to pray. Therefore the Prophet Muhammad woke up and went with the person who woke him up to go and pray together. And Prophet Muhammad prayed without washing himself, without purifying himself. This shows you that the Prophet who taught these 95% of the Muslims to wash themselves before praying, he himself does not wash himself. He himself is a hypocrite. And he himself has no prayer that is accepted. Umar ibn al-Khattab, who spread Islam by the sword, he needs wudu, he needs purification. As for a Prophet, it doesn't make sense. Page number 47, segment 14, it states that a man by the name of Abdullah bin Umar, I saw the messenger of God, I saw the apostle of God in public performing his number 1 and number 2 in the middle of the street while facing Sham. Sham basically means Palestine. In another tradition, it says he was seen facing towards Masjid al-Aqsa. Now we have the Palestinians, they're fighting for Masjid al-Aqsa, they're fighting for the Aqsa Mosque in Israel. And here the same Muslims tell us that their Prophet used to do number 1 and number 2 facing towards that direction, deliberately. And a Prophet from God in the middle of the street, doing number 1, number 2, for everyone to see him. And it gets reported in history after 1,400 years. And you're proud to be following such a Prophet? If we come down to page 62, it states, Prophet Muhammad came and he urinated while standing up. He wanted water, we got him water. Then he performed ablution, he performed the wudu in order to pray. That if you stand when you urinate, you are doing an act that is like the act of animals. They say only animals stand and urinate. And here the very Prophet stands and urinates. Which means he's a hypocrite. And he has no ethics, according to the Bukhari. And I will come to page 72 of volume 1 of Sahih al-Bukhari. What does this mean? It means that the Prophet Muhammad used to visit all of his wives, and they were 11. And he would engage with them all in sexual intimacy. And he would do that during the day and during the night. And all 11 of them. And he wouldn't wash himself. He would not wash himself between each wife. So the person who narrated this report, he said, is this true? That Prophet Muhammad has the ability to satisfy 11 women? Here it says, he was given the power of 30 men. This is the Prophet Muhammad that we were taught. I didn't bring this from Jupiter. I didn't make this up. It's in the Bukhari. I'm more than happy to bring this on any platform and we'll debate about it. And it just gets worse. This is volume 1. Volume 1 from Sahih al-Bukhari. As we are going through these books, you will see that the level of intellect and integrity and dignity and respect that the author has when speaking to his people regarding his own Prophet is very low. Very low level of respect. Now we come to page 221. The chapter of jihad begins. This here is volume 2 from Sahih al-Bukhari, the most sacred book after the Holy Quran. Chapter of jihad, segment number 7 in chapter 6, page number 223, as I have highlighted for you. The chapter of loving martyrdom. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله والذي نفسي بيده لوددت أني أقتل في سبيل الله ثم أحيا ثم أقتل ثم أحيا ثم أقتل ثم أحيا ثم أقتل. What does that mean? It means that Prophet Muhammad says, I vow by God that I wish that I could be killed for the sake of Allah, then brought back to life, then killed, then brought back to life, then killed, then brought back to life, then killed once again, and then you go become a martyr and you go and you get your 72 virgins. This is Sahih al-Bukhari, the authentic. Sahih means authentic. So when you see its non-stop attacks towards the West, you know why. Because they themselves wish to die, come back to life, to die again, come back to life, and die and come and non-stop. This love for death that they have, I don't know where it comes from. Do you know where it comes from? It comes from this book. When you wonder, what is the root for terrorism? This book. When the Muslim is taught that your Prophet wishes to die and come back to life once again, just in order to die again, you can't blame the 15-year-old and the 17-year-old and the 22-year-old to want to go and blow themselves up. You cannot blame them. This is in the book, and this book is in Australia. Now, we finished from an example. These are all examples I'm giving you. I cannot go through the whole book. Examples I'm giving you. Why the Prophet would say such a thing? According to al-Bukhari. You read in page 348, segment number 11, chapter 59, the characteristics of Satan, of Shaitan, of Satan and his soldiers. Then we have a testimony from Aisha. Aisha is the wife of Prophet Muhammad, who was also a terrorist after the life of Prophet Muhammad. She was leading an army that killed many people, tens of thousands of people in Basra, also known by the Battle of the Camel. Here, the very lady Aisha says, and Aisha, hadith number 3268, she says, so it means that the Prophet Muhammad was possessed. He was possessed. He was a crazy, delusional man. To the extent, hatta, she says, hatta, kana yukhayyalu ilayhi, to the point that he would start imagining things. And he would consider that he has done things when he didn't do anything. So when you find the Prophet saying, I want to die and come back and die and come back, it's because they believe he's a delusional man. They believe he's a psychopath. They believe he's being possessed, which is even worse. How can an apostle of God be possessed by jinns? This is what they believe. Let's come to page 377. It states that the Prophet in 3372, Prophet Muhammad used to doubt in previous prophets, which clearly contradicts the Holy Quran. The Quran says, مَا نُفَرِّقُ بَيْنَ أَحَدٍ مِّن رُسُلِهِ. We do not differentiate between any of God's messengers. Here the Prophet Muhammad says, أن رسول الله قال نحن أحق بالشك من إبراهيم إذ قال رب أرني كيف تحيي الموتى. Prophet Muhammad says that we are more worthy to doubt in the words of God than Abraham when he said, oh God, show me, how can you give life to the dead person? So the Prophet Muhammad himself, according to 95% of the Muslims, was a delusional man. According to Sunni Islam, this is al-Bukhari. So if your Prophet was doubting in his own message, in the revelation that had come to him, then why do you not allow anyone else to doubt in your Prophet? Why do you always want to paint a good picture? Firstly, reform, get rid of this book, and then we'll start a new platform of understanding what are the good things in the life of Prophet Muhammad that you can learn from. Not this book. Volume 3, from Sahih al-Bukhari to page 462. This one here. Any Muslim from the majority faiths, to all of my brothers out there, the Grand Mufti, the Australian National Imams Council, all of my brothers, Sister Linda Sarsour, all of my sisters as well, Sister Linda Sarsour, Yasmin Abdul Majid, Brother Walid Ali, all of the brothers who consider themselves Muslim, this is your book. And this is not any book. This is the number one book after the Quran. Page 462 states, Hadith number 5445, segment number 44, the door or the chapter of the dates. قال رسول الله, it says, the Prophet Muhammad says, من تصبح كل يوم 7 تمرات لم يضره في ذلك اليوم سم ولا سحر. It states over here, because I want to show you the accuracy of this book that is killing our people. I want to show you the accuracy. It says over here, whoever wakes up and eats dates, whether they be 7 or different reports, whoever eats dates will be immune to poisoning during that day. Whoever eats dates will not be affected by any poison. It says over here, sum, which means any poison. And I have here kerosene. And I have a cup of water. I have an empty cup, a glass, so you can see perfectly. And I have 2 dates over here. If this book is accurate, that means the Prophet portrayed in the previous volumes we just shown is an accurate portrayal, and you cannot blame anyone for thinking wrong about your Prophet. If it is not true, then denounce. Say this is not a good book. Do not consider it sacred, because people are dying because of the chapter of jihad. If it is true, then come. Here, I have 2 dates for you. I have 2 dates, and it's iftar time. Now you're breaking your fast. 2 dates, and I will pour you a cup of kerosene. And I want to see how you will not end up in the hospital. If you end up in the hospital, then you have done that to yourself for the sake of your own faith. If you end up dying, or you end up with serious injury, then you're a victim of your own faith. This is what you believe in. And if you end up healthy and nothing's wrong with you, I will convert to your faith. I will resign as a Shia Imam, and I will come and I will kiss your feet and I will study under you. I will start all over again. If you can prove me wrong, come. I'll pour you 1 cup from this after you have 2 dates, so we can see exactly, is this book accurate or no? If it is really the word of God, and if it's really what you believe is correct, come. I give you 2 dates, plus here, kerosene, and enjoy. This is volume 3. Volume 4 from Sahih al-Bukhari. Volume 4, Sahih al-Bukhari. Because this is very interesting, I'm going to show you the license again of this very volume, so nobody says it's a lie. Sure, 95% of the Muslims believe in a faith that should have something to offer, and at least some medicine. Let's take a look at the medicine. Here. Also, page 16. Page 16, it says, the chapter of medicine with the urine of the camel. تفضل. Chapter of medicine with the urine of the camel. Medicine, medication, it states, a group of people came and visited the Prophet in Medina, which means he had a government. I don't believe the Prophet had a government, but I believe he had a strong establishment. As for now, they came to Medina, where the Prophet had his religion established. And they became sick. What do they do when you become sick and you have the Prophet? He's the best doctor. So they went to the doctor. The best doctor according to all of the Muslims. The best doctor, the Prophet Mohammad. This is your book, not mine. This is your book. What does the best doctor say to the sick people that came to him? And what did he do when they took his prescription and ran with it? What did he do to them? فأمرهم النبي, they were sick. فأمرهم النبي, he ordered them, أن يلحقوا براعيه, that they go after the owner of the camel. يعني الإبل, it states here, يعني الإبل, which means the camel. فيشربوا من ألبانها وأبوالها, to drink from its milk and urine. فلحقوا براعيه فشربوا من ألبانها وأبوالها. Not only did they listen and ignore, no, they actually chased the man who had the camel, and they stopped the camel, and they drank from the camel's urine, and they drank from the camel's milk. حتى صلحت أبدانهم. حتى صلحت أبدانهم. Until their bodies became strong again, and now they have the ability to go back to where they once came on foot, and they're strong, and everything is well. They're no longer sick because of the cure in the camel's urine. So what did they do now that they are strong? فَقَتَلُوا الرَّاعِي وَسَاقُوا الْإِبِلِ. After they drank from the camel's urine, they killed the owner of the camel, and they stole the camel. Now, the Prophet orders them to go and drink urine from the camel. They go, they drink the urine and the milk, and then they kill the owner, they steal the camel, and they come back. Listen to this. فَبَلَغَ النَّبِي, the Prophet heard, Prophet Muhammad heard. فَبَعَثَ فِي طَلَبِهِمْ فَجِيءَ بِهِمْ. So he said to his companions, go bring these 2 people who did this to the owner of the camel. So they brought them. What did Prophet Muhammad do? The Prophet here chopped their hands and their legs Why? Because they stole a camel. It states, فَقَطْعَ أَيْدِيَهُمْ وَأَرْجُلَهُم وَسَمَّرَ أَعْيُنَهُم. And he brought 2 nails, the nails that you would use for the wall, and he poked their eyes with it. This is a terrorist. What kind of a doctor is this, to begin with? This is your prophet. This is your prophet. I did not make these books. This is your religion. Here, can you please explain? Because what I did now, I translated what is in the book. That's all I did. I did not add anything from myself. I translated what's in the book. Can you please explain? If I, as an Imam, have taken it out of context, you please explain to me. How can 4 volumes be taken out of context? How can go drink the urine of the camel be taken out of context? How? But you don't find any of this in this English version that they give you as a gift on the streets of London and in Sydney. Because they do not want you to know what's in the book. I'm not here to make divisions within the community. I myself, I am an outcast from the community. But I am calling for reformation. We clearly have a problem in the books that we consider to be sacred scriptures. If this is the book you use to interpret the Quran, then you cannot blame people to hate your Quran. You cannot blame people to hate your Quran. If this is the intellect that we are displaying our religion with to the world, then may God be with the world and may God be with the religion. Because this is clearly something wrong. I stand against this book and against the author of this book. And I do not consider it to be sacred at all. My purpose here is to show you exactly what needs to be left within Islam. We cannot be reformers if we go to the mosque and we pray behind Imams that quote from this book and revere this book and respect this book. The chapter of jihad was more than enough. All we had to read was 1 line. The chapter of jihad makes over 100 pages. I only read for you 1 line. To me, these are all attributions to my Prophet. I do not believe in them at all. I am a kafir in this book. I do not believe in it at all. I believe in the Prophet that loved Moses and loves Jesus. And we have a study, but the problem is only a minority believe in that study.